What's up, guys? John back with another reaction video, and today we're doing something a little bit different. We're gonna react to the top 10 most hated countries in the world. I don't know what is the criteria, or like, is it just obnoxious people? I'm obviously American, when I went to Europe like 10 years ago. I think I was in Italy, and we were in this square or plaza, and Italy has a lot of these. There was this American woman like right behind us, and it was just like my family, and she was eating by herself, and yes, she was by herself. So we were just eating, right? And I just hear her keep on complaining to the waiter, and this is a bigger lady, and she even said, I couldn't believe she said this, but she said, is this the actual size of the plate? She said that. And this is an American woman, obviously American or Canadian, because the accents, she sounded American. And the waiter's like, yes, ma'am, like, do you want me to get you another serving? I was like, what? And she's like, no, can you put more stuff on here? I'm like, what the hell? That's how they serve it, you know what I mean? So, like, people like that make Americans look really bad outside of the US, and I'm sure even in the US that would be annoying as hell. So let's get into this video. Let's see who are the top 10 most hated countries in the world.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to The World According to Briggs, and a list about the most hated countries on the planet. Yeah, people hate different countries. Several different organizations do different surveys on what country is the most hated or disliked on the planet. The Reputation Institute, Pew Research does this thing called Attitude Towards Different Countries. I looked at all the different surveys that I could find, and I came up with a list of countries that most frequently show up on these studies, or surveys, whatever you want to call them. There are a lot of different reasons people from other countries may hate another country. It could be things that happened in the past or now. Yes. It could be for economic reasons or military reasons.
I live in South Korea right now, and whenever people bring up Japan, that hits a very sensitive mark in like pretty much every single Korean that I've met. They hate it. They hate the history of Japanese occupation in South Korea, so I totally get why they feel this way, although it was over 50, 60 years ago. But, a lot of people, there's still a lot of people still alive that have experienced this. So, of course, they have that resentment, inside them that they need to kind of get out. And they've always been wanting Japan to officially apologize about their occupation in South Korea, but Japan has not done that. So that's why Koreans always have that very sensitive point.
For whatever reason, people hate. It's just a fact. This is a very interesting list. I found some on the list. They really haven't done anything horrible in decades and decades, but people hate them going back hundreds and hundreds of years. It's really strange. All right, let's see what people say are the most hated countries. Number 10, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is an oil-rich country in the Persian Gulf, and everyone's heard of Saudi Arabia. This place is highly dominated by religious laws and go all the way to medieval punishments like stoning, lashing, amputation for thieves. Women really get a raw deal here too, with lack of most freedoms that we take for granted here in the United States that are just part of our normal life. I
heard that Saudi women have to cover up their faces. They're treated as second-class citizens. Let me know if this is true or not. I've never been there, so but yes, I've heard things like that.
Reading some of their laws and thinking, why would they stop a woman from doing that? One of their laws that just baffled me, which I knew about it for a long time, I just thought it was strange, started reading about it, was women, when they go outside the home, have to cover themselves from head to toe, including their faces, and they're not allowed to go anyplace alone. They have to take a male relative with them. Could be a brother, could be their husband, whatever. I'm sure that gets old quick.
I don't think they can even drive
quick for both the woman and her brother, who every time she's got to go to the store, you know, if her husband's working, she's got to call her loser brother to come over and escort her to the store. They got a whole bunch of other reasons that rub outsiders the wrong way here, and that's what gets them on lists like this. Most tourists will tell you that to stay away from this place because it's kind of boring to visit. Number 9, Turkey. Turkey has had a love-hate relationship with the world for centuries. Turkish people are great. I know a few of them. All of them are wonderful people. What's putting them on the list, according to several sources, is their current government, and actually their past government when they were the Ottomans. When you go way back, Turkey is hated because of the Armenian genocide. The massacre was carried out by the Ottoman Empire and resulted in the deaths of 1.5 million people. Armenians, mostly. If you don't know the Ottoman Empire, it's probably...
Look at this. I have a friend that worked in Turkey, and she's living in South Korea right now, but she went to Turkey to work there for like 6 months, and she liked it. You know, people are nice, and food is amazing. I just had some Turkish food recently in South Korea, in Itaewon, which is like the international area, and I love Turkish food. So from what I gather from my experiences, Turkey and the Turkish people are very, very nice, and this is amazing. Look at this. If you're on a hot air balloon and you see other people in hot air balloons, would you get excited? I mean, this is awesome.
You're from the United States, we kind of just brush over it in our world history, but the Ottoman Empire was basically big in this area, and it all came from Turkey. And I just totally broad brushed that again, but that's to give you the idea what's going on there. Although the massacre is widely known, it is still denied by the Turkish government. It's like they know it happened, everyone else knows it happened, but if they don't admit it, it didn't happen. It's weird. Number 8, Iran. I know many Persians. I worked in Beverly Hills for a lot of years, and it's filled to the brim with Persians. Like Turkey, the people are kind, decent, very smart, and friendly. It's their government. It supports terrorism around the world, has horrible human rights record, keeps threatening the world with nukes, and it likes to piss off the most powerful nations on the planet. The people are great, though, and it's not just the United States they like rubbing the wrong way. Everyone. If you're a major power in this world, Iran's gotten under your skin at some point.
Man, I just want to point out that all these countries are beautiful. Like, I would love to travel, but I just feel like, and my wife too, like, she has no desire to go to the Middle East because there's a sense of like danger, and I don't know about racism. I have no idea about that, but over there might be. I'm sure there is, but I mean, it's so beautiful. Like, who wouldn't want to go? And it has nothing to do with the people. It has everything to do with, the governments, and they're trying to like control everything. So, too bad, man. I mean, these countries are all beautiful.
Number 7, India. If any country excels in discrimination, it's India. This is one of the main reasons people hate this place. The Indians believe that hating you for your color, race, gender is perfectly a normal thing. Now,
my brother went to India for like 2 weeks, and he got, I think, water poisoning because he was, I think he was at some hole-in-the-wall place. He likes doing that kind of thing, like eating at those lesser-known areas, and I think they didn't wash their utensils very properly, and it was just very dirty. So yeah, he got sick for like I don't know, like 5 days or something like that. It kind of ruined the trip a little bit, but too bad, man. I mean, India's, I'm sure, can be a very beautiful country, but there's just like a lot of trash, as you guys
I'm not
see
saying
here.
all of them. This is just a general feel. I'm sure you could run into a lot of really nice Indians. This, as you can imagine, puts a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, and it kind of keeps them away from visiting India. The country isn't safe, especially for women. They are cracking down on this, but it isn't terribly rare to find out that some woman was attacked by a group of men. For a while there, it seemed to be happening like every week. I mean, brutal stuff too. Not like touching on the
it
bus
happens
or something
everywhere,
like that. It was ugly. On top of that, they aren't the best neighbors to other countries around them. They have a really bad reputation for that.
And the air is really bad. I think that's why, like, it's kind of not like the hot tourism, although I know there's still a lot of people that go there for vacation.
Number 6, the United Kingdom. Yes, believe it or not, the United Kingdom is hated by a lot of people. And it's not so much as what's going on now, it's they have a terrible past. It's thought by many around the world that the UK is extremely greedy, and it ruled about a quarter of the earth at one point. It was
Very true. I've been there, and if you go to I forget, Royal Museum, or anyways, the biggest museum there, I don't remember the name. Everything that they have is not theirs. It's from another country, and like the Rosetta Stone. There's like tombs, mummies, that kind of thing, and whoever goes there realizes like this has nothing to do with the UK history. It's more like how the UK conquered other countries, and a lot of people are complaining like, hey, give it back, you know what I mean, like give all this stuff back. But the British don't want to give it back because, you know, they want people to come and look at this kind of stuff.
one of the first in the world to bring in a slavery system. It encouraged civil wars, oppressed and looted many countries, and is responsible for the division and destruction of several countries in different continents around the world, and still involved in most of the major wars that happen on the planet. But if you go way back, I mean, look at anything to do with history, especially here in the United States,
US.
you could tell England was they were kind of a-holes. And the arrogance they had back in the day about it was just incredible. One of the best scenes, there's a movie called Last of the Mohicans, and Daniel Day-Lewis is just like this scout woodsman, and this British officer, he saves him. And then he's all, how is it you came across this war party of Native Americans that were attacking the British? And he goes, well, we were heading to Kentucky. He's all, why are you heading to Kentucky? All of our scouts are heading to someplace else. And he goes, well, I ain't one of your scouts. And he just, the British officer's demeanor was like, what do you mean? He's all, yeah, I'm just not doing that stuff. Great movie though.
Have you guys ever walked this bridge here? I did it at night. It is an amazing walk. It was very nice weather. At night that day it was like nice and cool, and we walked across it. The beautiful lights on the whole bridge lit up. So it was a very beautiful, great experience for me in the UK. I felt that people were really nice, and once I told them I was from the US, they were very nice and they talked a lot. So shout out to all of you guys from the UK. We are friends, so let's keep it that way. I think majority of the reason is because of the history of Great Britain. Not so much now, I assume.
One of the reports I read, there's a big problem with the British. Obviously, they were in India for a very long time, and I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but it seems very interesting, but it's a little more time consuming than I wanted to get into. They say the UK destroyed India and ruined its education system. What'd they do? Like steal all the teachers? What went on there? I gotta read about that.
Yeah.
Number 5, China.
Yes.
China has a lot of people, and they execute a staggering amount of them. They have forced labor camps, ugly history, and cheap exports. They've been accused of currency manipulation and have decided that the island of Taiwan belongs to them. There's always something going on between those two. Some of their low-cost products include medicine and food. On a few occasions, they've decided to use materials that are less expensive so they could drive up profits, make the...
That's a picture of Hong Kong, actually. My family's from Hong Kong, and we have a lot to say about this. I've been to Taiwan, I've been to China once, and I hated it. The food sucked. This was in late 90s, I think, so it probably wasn't as developed as now. The public bathrooms are horrible. It's literally just a stone building with a gutter, and you just go in the gutter. I'm sure it's changed a lot since then, but I just had a really bad experience in Beijing. Hong Kong, I go like pretty often. A lot of the people from Hong Kong are moving, and including my cousins. They decided to move out of there because cost of living, and then China coming in, and so I understand this is a very sensitive topic for Taiwanese and Hong Kong people, but let me know if you guys hear anything else. I mean, of course we can go on and on, but China, they used to have a bad reputation with tourists, traveling, but I don't know about nowadays. After Corona, how it's been. But most
Product
Chinese people
cheaper.
are,
The downside is
pretty nice.
this has caused some deaths. That type of thing has gone on for decades with them. So many times they found out some toy that was inspected before, all of a sudden they switched it out to having lead-based paint or something like that because it's cheaper on a kid's toy. As you can imagine, all those things have gotten them on this list.
All right, number 4.
Number 4, Israel. The Israeli people and the Palestinian people have been going at each other's throats for decades and decades. They fire rockets at each other from across the border. The politics and the drama that has gone on here for, like I said, decades and decades is just far too complicated to cover in a 10-minute video.
Look how beautiful that is. Look at this. I mean, just people are destroying this country. I mean, it's so beautiful. I'm sure the food is amazing. I would love to go to all these countries, to be honest. I mean, look at the sunset. Like, you see the palm trees, you see the water there. I mean, I really want to go, but the thing is, it's dangerous. I don't even know if it's worth it. You know, if you guys ever been there, let me know how was your experience. If you guys ever been to any of these countries, let me know. You know, what was your experience? Like, how was it? How was the food good? How were the people? Visas, traveling, all that stuff, security, you know, racism, all that stuff. Let me know. I'm very curious to see because I love traveling and being stuck in Korea for like 2.5 years. I am dying to get out of here.
Neighbors, the one that's usually doing the most damage is the more powerful one, which brings on a lot of hatred. And that's part of Israel's problem. I mean, there's a ton that goes into this, but basically the war that they've had with the Palestinian people and the fact that they're a Jewish nation surrounded by Muslim nations probably doesn't help matters either. Number 3, Russia. Russia has a history of being aggressive to its neighbors, not just in...
This was done like last year, but everyone knows now after this year, it's probably number 1 right now.
Military terms, economics, hacking, forcing a bunch of countries to join the Soviet Union, and before you say it, yes, some went willingly. At least the people in charge went willingly. It's really hard to find average Joes from the old Soviet Union that were on board with this whole operation. Russia likes to create conflicts between major nations of the world, which is designed to be beneficial to Russia. They like to kill people that disagree with them, no matter what country the person happens to be standing in. You know, like Russians go someplace else, they've been talking to the media bad about Russian government. Next thing you know, they've been poisoned with uranium or something weird like that. They're right now in the news because they have jailed an opposition leader that's been on a hunger strike. This isn't the first time they've done that either. All those things and some other things make Russia one of the most hated countries on the planet.
Yeah. I have a feeling
Number 2,
yes.
The United States of America. Yeah, you heard me. My country, our country, if you're watching from the United States, is the second most hated country in the world. Now, it's hard to believe if you're from the country, much like if you're from Russia, you're probably, you know, wondering why people would hate Russia. That's just how things are. We're kind of designed to be that way. The United States of America is hated by many because of its vast military and economic power over the rest of the world. And that's just a fact. We've been involved in so many different conflicts which have just angered people from the areas and in the countries that the conflicts happened in.
No one wants another country occupying
a lot of cases wondering why we got involved. You would probably have to go back to the Korean War and World War II to find a time that we were truly justified by going to war there, and the people are probably happy with it 90% of the time. I mean,
I would say, like, in Korea, a lot of Koreans actually like that the U.S. is here, obviously, so they can, you know, feel a sense of protection. I don't know about other countries, but in Korea specifically, they do kind of view the U.S. as, you know, a very good friend, and there's a lot of soldiers here, so that's just my experience in Korea.
The people from those countries. But considering we've been involved in all these conflicts, we are one of the wealthiest countries on the planet, and we have the largest military, it's hard not to be hated by third world countries because of that. There are so many other things for all these, really, not just the United States, but for all these countries, there's thousands of other reasons people might hate that country, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of them in the comment section below. Keep in mind, before you tell me I forgot something or I didn't include something, this is a 10-minute video. You know, I'm not going to get to everything. I'm just kind of giving you an idea, but it is a very interesting subject. It's worth doing some reading on. And before we get to number 1, don't forget we have another channel called On
All right,
This.
let's move to number 1.
And number 1. North Korea. Who didn't see this one coming? You know, when you put as much effort into hiding what is going on in your country as North Korea does, you know what's going on isn't good. North Korea has been a big pain in the ass to everyone for a very long time. We know their people are starving, jailed, executed, they disappear in the middle of the night, and they're subjected to an insane propaganda program. They're told that their leader doesn't have to use the restroom because he works so hard for the North Korean people that he burns off all the calories he takes in, so he never creates any waste. They also tell the people of North Korea that he has to take phone calls from other countries to solve problems that other countries can't figure out. They also have their own Netflix knockoff called Man Bang. I'm not kidding. It's called Man Bang. I don't even know how to explain they came up with that name, but it doesn't mean what it sounds like to Americans. I'm sure it means something different to them. This is a streaming service that has 3 channels, 2 of which are government news channels filled with nonsense, and 1 channel that shows government-approved movies only. Those who live in the country suffer from restrictions of freedom as their internet access is heavily censored, poor infrastructure, low standard of living, and the reason they're all poor and their infrastructure is crumbling is because they put all their money towards nuclear weapons. This is an obsession with the North Korean government.
I'm living in South Korea. North Korea always has nuclear weapons practice, and they do all kinds of stuff here, and people get used to it. I ask South Koreans, like, what do you guys think about North Korea always firing missiles? They're like, we're already used to it. We don't really care. They're just like bluffing, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I live next to a Air Force base, a Korean Air Force base. Actually, it's right outside our backyard is a Air Force base, and they were running drills like last week, and but I feel pretty safe here. I mean, I don't really even think about North Korea.
Government. It threatens the world with nuclear war like on a weekly basis. They have an aggressive attitude towards neighboring countries, and this has caused them to be pretty much isolated from the rest of the world. And people go on to believe that they're just totally evil, which I'm sure the people are just fine. It's just their government is just whacked.
Always.
The outside world knows very little of what's going on in North Korea. Every once in a while we'll get someone that defected over, they finally got out of the country, and they just tell us horrible things. I remember there was this soldier that jumped across the border not too long ago. He was starving. He had seeds from trees in his stomach that he just couldn't get enough food, so he was actually eating these big seeds that weren't digested.
They probably shot him down too.
Sad.
All right, so that's it for this video. Let me know, like, subscribe. If you guys have been to any of these countries, or if let me know what other travel videos you guys would like me to watch. I don't know about North Korea, but every other country on this list I would love to go to. And if you guys ever been to any of these countries, please share your experiences on this channel so that we can kind of experience it together. Make sure you guys recommend me more videos to react to next time. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hey!